Hey HCDA and welcome back to Incremental Week. My goal for this week was to show you a lot of different types of games in genre, and as such this one is quite different from all the others once again. Stuck in Time is basically an adventure game, but with some programming and idle mechanics. Let's just dive in and that will all make sense. You wake up alone in the woods with no memory. You are stuck in a loop. Every time your mana reaches 0, you are teleported back to the starting point, and this is exactly pretty much how the game is going to work. You can see on the top here, you have mana as soon as that runs out. The guy little dies, whoop, and we start all back over where we were. There's also going to be some programming involved. We can drag and drop actions from list, and that is basically going to queue up a whole bunch of things that our little dude over here is going to do. We can then start the loop and do that as we want. And we are going to build basically an adventuring loop that is going to have our dude explore the world, gather items, fight monsters, level up, etc, etc. Do that over and over again, and as we do that more and more times, things are going to get easier, faster, and so on. So let's get going. We're going to build a loop that reaches here and fights one red. If we click on this, we can actually see that there's a red nest here. There's 10 reds in there, but every time we fight, then it's going to cost us 100 mana to do so. We only have 500 mana, so you can see, well, that's not going to be enough to fight all 10 reds, aside from the fact that we also have health, so there's a couple of limiting factors. However, in order to get to the reds, we're going to move up, and we're going to move to the side, and then we're going to fight. Now let's start that loop and see where that leaves us. You can see this guys are moving around, fights a red. We took a little bit of damage here, but we also got ourselves some dead reds. There's meat on them though. Now, the next thing we're going to do is trying to replenish our mana. In order to do that, there's some fireflies over here. If we click on those, we can see, hey, there's 3 fireflies over here. And if we interact with these, it's gonna cost 100 mana, but we're actually going to gain some mana back as well. Now, in order to do that, we are going to have to move left twice, and then we're going to interact with that. Let's say go. Now he's going to fight the red all over again, but now he is going to go and replenish its mana. Oh, there we go, 500 mana. And now we have some experience that we gained along the way by fighting the reds and doing other things. And we have this altar over here. Now this altar will allow us to upgrade, or basically spend our levels in order to upgrade our abilities over here. So we have Spirit that will increase our max mana, which allows us to get further. And we have Heart, increases the game speed, which won't be that interesting right now, but it will matter over time. And then we have Body, which allows us to do more damage and fight more. So all in all, we want all 3 of those, but for now, having some extra Spirit is going to go a long way to actually progressing through the game. And of course, that's also what the tutorial is telling us. So we want to move 2 steps down, then we want to interact with that thing. Let's say go, there we go, we are to fight a red again. We are now going to replenish our mana, and we're going to move down and gain ourselves a level. Look at that. Now, because we are repeating the same action over and over again, we are going to be familiar with that route. So this guy is not that stupid. If he does the same thing over and over again, he actually gets better at that. Now, the initial time that we used this altar over here, it took 100 mana, but because we are now a little bit familiar with doing this specific action, we are now only going to spend 92 mana, so we spend less and less mana as we retrace our steps. Now this doesn't just hold for interaction, it also holds just for moving around, pretty much anything you do. So even though at some point you might move somewhere that you later find out that's not actually really efficient to do, just because you move through that specific spot over and over again, you have become more familiar with that, so later on if you do revisit that once more, you will be able to do that more efficiently. While we're doing all of this, there's also a little story developing. Now there's a lot of different characters in the game. We only have the first one right now. It's the mysterious player. I'm covered in sweat and my right leg hurts like hell. I have a large open wound on my left side. What happened to me? I guess we're going to find out. But this is a story you can track as you progress through the game. So there's really like a story happening in the background. This is really an adventure. You can move around freely. It's not going to be as linear as it looks right now long term, as you will see in a moment, but there's some more things we need to talk about first. So this is the route we have programmed so far. So after we reach this thing leveled up, I think we should probably move back, interact maybe twice with that thing over here to replenish all our mana. Then we are going to move back to that middle space, move all the way back down, And then we are at a fence over here that has, well, it's going to get in the way, but you can break it if you hit it hard enough. So we're going to fight that. Now, in order to make sure we are being efficient with our time, and again, this is an idle game, what you can do is actually press the auto loop over here. This will repeat whatever loop you have programmed. And once you make changes to the loop, you can also set this to update the path on the next loop so that, well, if you add things or you change things, which is really easy to do, you can just, for example, say, okay, let's say these rats or whatever, you want to fight those a couple more times, for example, we can do that very easily. So you don't have to like recreate the entire path over and over again. You can adjust it at the fly. It does take a little bit of optimizing, honestly, and it's really what I like about this game. It's like half programming, half adventure, half idle game. I guess that adds up to 150%, but yeah, you know, it's fun. There's also quite a few quality of life things in here. So for example, you can pause the game just if you are at a certain spot and you want to make sure you know what is happening. Well, you can pause. You can also have it repeat the last action on the list. So it doesn't really make sense now, but let's say, for example, you are able to reach rats and you were like, okay, well, just do this a couple of times, get better at it, and then fight as many rats as you can. Then that would be a way to do this. It's also just really fun to have it play through the loop, kind of track what's going on. We might be able to fight the rats a few more times, honestly, because as you can see, we are getting a lot more mana back than we actually used. We leveled up the spirits, then we used the fireflies once, the fireflies twice. We probably have some room to get more mana there, I guess, later on. And then we're fighting the fence. Let's move down a few times once we do that. But as you can see, we were not able to actually get through that fence just yet. Actually, I'm not entirely sure about that. Did we just not program it yet to go through the fence? Because I should have enough mana for that. Let's find out. Move, move. No moving. I guess we, well, it takes a little bit too much mana to actually get here for the moment. But let's see. The fighting of rats only takes 92 now. And what happens if we fight it like 2 times more? Can we make that? I think we can. So we should probably just do another loop and then, oh, look, we went through the fence and we are now starting to explore. But let's see, we are fighting the red ones. I actually didn't set it to update, my bad. Okay, he almost finished another loop. He's moving down. Oh, there's actually some fireflies here, so we can start to do that. But let's see, let's fight the red ones twice, 3 times, then move there and replenish. Oh, we are just lacking a little bit of mana to do that. So we probably need to fight the rats only twice, and then we should be able to get through. But I'm wondering if we actually get another level if we do that. I don't think it's going to be enough, is it? Nope. We do need to fight the rat 3 times in order to be able to get 2 levels here. But that's not too bad though, because what we can do is once we get there, we can interact at least once. How much mana do we actually get from these fireflies? Do we know that? Can I see that somehow? I actually don't know. Let's see, how much do I get here? It's like 400 plus, something like that. So we can probably replenish our mana twice at the fireflies and then move on to wherever else we can go. We actually also unlocked quite a bit of story here, so as I approach one of the fireflies carefully as it touches my hand, I feel a boost in magical energy. The fireflies then fly away in a cloud of mana dust. The old stone altar lights up as I come close to it. It seems dedicated to some kind of ancient god that has been forgotten. It seems to react differently depending on how I interact with it. I finally break that old moldy fence with what's left of my energy. Now let's see how it's rigged. It'll be easier to break on future loops. And then I noticed that every time I perform the same action, I become more familiar with it and I can do it a bit quicker. If I keep doing the same thing over and over, I might be able to leave this place. Yep, that's pretty much what we're trying to do. Now, there is some grass over here that we can kind of just explore. And I'm not entirely sure. It's sometimes a little bit hard to see where you can actually go. There's some, for example, woods over here that you can't pass through. What's this actually? This is just blocked. There's some more woods over here, but there is a path, I believe. So let's first see what is in this direction. In every role-playing game, you always go into the direction that the game doesn't tell you to go, because sometimes there's like items there. Not sure if that holds in this case. We are replenishing our mana, that's nice. And now we're kind of moving in this direction. And oh, look, what's over here? We can't actually just tell. But let's just keep moving in that direction to see what happens. Maybe repeating the last action on the list isn't a bad thing, just to make sure we're always trying to do whatever last thing we do as many times as we can before we reset the loop. Oh, look, there's a little monster over here. The red-eyed critter. It looks like he's holding on to something. Well, that's interesting. The problem is it's going to cost us 1,000 mana to fight this guy, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm actually going to delete this row of movements to the left, because I don't think there's... Well, there's actually fireflies over here, so that's interesting. Can we move around him, actually? Let's try that out. Now let's move just in front and across, and then try to move in that direction, see what's over there. So we're breaking down the fence, we are gathering some fireflies, we're barely able to reach those fireflies still. And then we're just going to move. Oh, I actually forgot to update the path, so let's try that once more. Okay, we're back on the path, or actually not on the path, we're going off the path, but we are moving, it should be updating now. And we're going to go up and across, there is some more fireflies here. So we should probably pick those up. Hey, what's that? It's a green altar to level up and get some more experience. Okay, and there's something down there as well. Well, like I said, you just keep doing the loops. We don't need to go in this direction. We can just completely reset and check out what's on the other side as well. And it'll take a little while. Again, it's an idle game, but every time I take this path, and we're obviously going to take this path a lot more often, just because there's obviously something in this direction. Every time we do this, we do get a little bit more efficient at it. Let's say, for example, this spot over here. I think it normally costs like 50 to move, and this one is already down to 29, just because we did that like 20 times or 30 times by now. So we've done a couple of rounds now, and I think we should be able to fight the rats twice, maybe level up twice, then go visit here to replenish, then level up a little bit further, and then move all the way back. I'm not totally sure if I should be exploring this more, but it's worth noting that if you're halfway into a loop like I am now, and you just control space, then it will completely start over the loop, so you don't have to wait for a long loop to replenish. If you're like, well, no, this is what I want to do now, I should probably update the loop as well. Then, look, now we're fighting the rats a couple of times. We fought them 3 times. We have 2 levels now, so I think we should go down here, get 2 levels. There we go. Spirit, that gives us 900 mana. That's really nice. And we got all the fireflies now. We move all the way down here. If you click on this, you can actually see where in the list you're interacting with that, so that's quite useful. We are replenishing our mana, then we're going to be moving. I'm not entirely sure if we need to replenish our mana halfway through, but I guess we might as well, though we probably shouldn't do that twice, because the second one, actually it's only one, so the second one was just replenishing, right? Or is this one? Hold on, let me check. What this is? Oh no, so this is this one. Okay, so then we pick up the last firefly over here, and then we start moving back. Then we get to this firefly. Can we make it? Yeah, we can. And we pick that up, so we have all the fireflies now, and now we're starting to explore. What's this? It's a bonfire. Sacrifice mobs to gain affinity. Well, that sounds like something we should be doing. We can level up a bit further here, but that also means, let's go a little bit back, then down. No, how do we do this? Interact, I guess? Yes, we do need 200 for that. Not sure how much I have once I get there. But what we could alternatively do, rather than doing this entire route over here, because I don't think we're gaining all that much, we could just skip that and go straight here with our things to sacrifice. Speaking of which, we should probably interact 3 times, because we do have 3 rats. There's also a road over here. So this is where the exploration adventure comes in. There's different ways you can go to right from the start, and that's the whole point of an adventure. You can just keep looping. It is an idle game, I do want to stress that, so don't expect to sit down and complete this in an hour. I do think it will probably take you something like 8 to 10 hours to complete this game, depending on how often you play, how many loops you do, because if you just have it idle in the background, which I guess you should, once again, I should really update this, then obviously the initial loop is going to go super fast once you get back, and then you don't have to like actively play the game for 9 or 10 hours, but you can do it with a little bit less, most likely. Okay, so we are on our way back. I believe we should be going to the bonfire now. Did I remember to update it? Yes, I did. There we go. we sacrifice that, that gives us quite a bit of levels actually, and we gain this skill. So if we burn rodents, we get increased rodent experience, and because we just burned a single rodent, we keep this. So this is every time we do this, we are going to be able to keep this. So that means that in the next loop, which we're doing right now, we do this probably twice more, then fighting these rodents initially will give us more experience than it did before. Loop 37, I throw the corpse of a rat into the bonfire. His little soul rips out of his dead body and evaporates into the sky. My sacrifice has been accepted. Well, okay, apparently that's a thing. Now, we could actually cut out this entire loop over here and just go straight for the bonfire to make things a little bit more efficient, or alternatively skip the bonfire and go explore up here. Let's see how much experience this actually gives us once we sacrifice one more rat. It's going to be quite interesting actually. The thing is, from this part of the loop we do actually gain another spirit, which we wouldn't have if we skip it, but at the same time we can probably use some of the experience over here to do that instead. Now let's see. Once we sacrifice another rodent, we actually were able to do almost twice the sacrificing thing by now. It's just 10 experience, but you know, it's permanent, it adds up, and we can just keep doing this in our loop. Okie dokie, so a little time jump here. I did some exploring. Over here on the left we have this closed gate, which is obviously, I guess, where we need to defeat this guy for, so we can open the gate. There's also this huge honking red-eyed beast, which is going to cost us 7,500 mana to pass. That's not gonna happen for now. There's another critter over here that is just 1,000, well, just 1,000, I have 900 at the moment, but you can actually pass by these critters. So I've done this, for example, over here. This is a very similar type of critter that I can just pass by with 200. It does differ between the different creatures. This is 400, this used to be 200 before I did it a few times. There's something like a town over here that I can't quite get to because I ran out of energy. There's a fisherman here apparently that I want to reach, but yeah, we're going to have to do some more upgrading first. I also went up here to explore a little bit further, picking some of these fireflies up along the way. Again, I just skipped fighting this guy. We are now crossing familiarity level 1, almost level 2, so that makes it easier and easier to get past here. And then once I am actually able to get past him, or fight him one way or another, I can replenish my mana over here to fireflies, but as you just saw, I don't just make that. So that means that I, instead of just kind of like stubbornly trying to do the same thing over and over again and failing at it, what I can also do is optimize my fighting of rodents, because I do have rodent affinity level 3 now, and level up my spirit, I think it's called, right? Yeah, just to get some more mana, and then hopefully, because I have more mana and I have some more of these fireflies over here to replenish that, I can then really push forward a little bit further. Alright, so optimizing time. I just cleared out the entire instruction set. It's still running from the previous one, but that's okay. It's just gaining me familiarity, it's gaining me rodent affinity and things like that. Now what I want to do, let's do some math over here. We can move here for about 20, we can move here for about 30, so it's taking me about 50 to get to the rat's nest. In order to get back to the fireflies over here, it takes me another 20, 30... so about 50 more, and then I want to interact here with the fireflies in order to replenish my mana, which is going to cost me another 50. So that's something like 150, 170, somewhere in between those, rounding up for safety's sake, 200 mana in order to get to the fireflies between the fighting, or after the fighting I should say. So I have about 300 left to fight. We have 300 left to fight. We can fight at least 5 times in order to reach this, which also means we should have several levels worth of experience once we get here. So well, let's queue that all up. Let's go here, then let's fight 5 times and move there, interact once. Yeah, just once, because we start out with just 500. Then we move down here. We are going to interact at least 2 times and see where that leaves us. So let's make sure we reset the loop and see if this works like planned. That's 2 rats for us, 5 rats. Then we move here. Yeah, we replenished nicely on time. We have 2 levels, so we can gain that twice. And now it's just trying to gain more levels, and we should probably move back. Gain, how many of these fireflies are here? So there's 3 of them. so we can move back, regain some mana. Then we have 500 mana once more. Then we can kind of do this whole loop once more, and then we should have cleared out this entire rat's nest. Okay, so I reset the loop in order to fight 5 times. We already know that works. Then we're going to replenish our mana. Then we're going to gain a couple of levels, gain more spirit. Then we're going to regain that, and then we're going to fight. And then what just happened? Ooh, okay, I guess we died because, well, yeah, that's a thing. Okay, so we definitely need to adopt this. Maybe we could gain a level of body instead of 1 level of spirit. Fight some more rats. I'm not actually sure if we gain hearts back by doing that. And then move out of there in order to, because then all the rats should be dead, and then we move out of here and get to this next set of fireflies. Okay, new attempt. I now set it up to gain 1 spirit and 1 body over here, then move back and fight again. So let's update the loop, let's reset the loop, see how that works. I already know fighting works. We might not need to fight 5 times. Well, we actually have enough for 3 now. That's interesting. So we gain 1 of each. We actually do regain some health when we do that. And look at that, we're once again fighting. We cleared out all the rats. And working like intended. I'm loving this. And let's optimize this even further. I now set it up to gain some body and spirit over here, then fight the other 5 rats, move back, and then we should be moving out and be able to sacrifice all those rodents that we killed in order to get the rodent affinity up as high as we can. So let's update the loop, let's reset the loop, and let's fight some more rats. The nice thing about gaining the affinity, by the way, is because it gets cheaper, it also gets faster, because we're right now spending 1 mana per tick. But as we increase this will actually speed up the game as well. Now look at that, we already have 2 spirit and 1 body over here. Now we spent another level, and now we're, oh, actually forgot to fight. I need to fight the fence. Okay, so let's move down, let's fight the fence, then let's interact with that thing a couple of times. Let's make sure I can see what I'm doing. Go there, do this, and then, well, I don't need to do infinite interactions because that will automatically repeat because I set it to do that. Okay, once again, update and reboot. I love the fact that this game is 0 stress. I mean, even if you do something that doesn't work, you're still gaining affinity, especially if this works what we're doing now, we're going to be gaining rodent affinity, which is permanent as well. And we can just let this run for a little while if that's what we want to do. There we go, so we did spend all our levels. Now we're fighting our way through the fence. We are going to do this at least twice. Well, we should do this at least twice because we have a higher cap now. Now we're just spending some time sacrificing a whole bunch of rodents, which means we could probably at some point, if we get this up high enough, gain even more levels here at the start. If you're thinking like, okay, this is starting to take quite a while, it's not that long actually, but if you find it to take too much time, at some point you want to start increasing heart as well. It just increases the game speed and you'll be zooming around the place, especially the earlier parts of the game where you have a lot of affinity. As you can see, this movement is already up to level 28, so it only costs 90 now. At some point you will just be zooming around the place at the start, but of course near the end of your path where you don't have as much affinity yet, things will slow down so you can actually see what's happening there as well. So what I've done now is I actually set up a loop to kill all those 10 rats over here, then get to the bonfire, sacrifice some, replenish some mana, and then sacrifice all the others, which means I am now ramping up my rodent experience quite quickly. You can see it's up to 60% already. And because we also upgraded our body, if we now check, for example, these guys over here that used to cost 1,000 to fight, now only cost 666 to fight. So the stronger you get, the easier it actually gets to fight these guys, or I should say cheaper it gets to fight them. So what we can do now, actually, you can see that I am already up to another level over here, and I'm sacrificing some more rats. That actually gives me another level. All in all, it at some point now becomes less efficient to keep just doing this over and over again. What I probably want to do is just pass through here, sacrifice whatever rats I can, then move over here, replenish my mana, maybe fight some more rats, and then what all that experience that I just got, level up here, replenish my mana once more, and then start either moving down to this fisher guy over here, or maybe fight some more monsters over here, see what that gives me. Long story short, there are so many options. It is really addicting to try to kind of code out the most optimal path, but even again, if it's not optimal at some point, it will be optimal just because you did it so many times. I cannot stress how much I'm enjoying this game and this premise, basically, how this works. There's definitely the incremental vibe. It's also completely idle, so you can just have it run in the background. I guess I'm repeating myself, but I hope you noticed that I really enjoy this. Let me do one more time skip to just show you a little bit further into the game, what it looks like, and then I'll just stop there, because half the fun is actually just exploring the game as it is. And trust me, there's plenty more to go from here. So here you go, this is a little bit of a more advanced example, not that much further actually, but you can see I've done a lot more exploring across the map. There's items across the map. There are caves, there are more people to meet, and actually this is just a part of the map. There is several other areas to explore as well. As you can see, I did some exploring down here and somewhere else. There's treasure chests, I have items looted on the map, I killed a lot more stuff, I leveled up my skills, you can get affinity with all the different creatures that you can kill, and so on and so on. And as you can see, I'm taking a long way around now to actually get behind that gate, but there's probably smarter ways of doing this that will allow me to get even further. Long story short, this is more of an idle game than an incremental game, but due to the overlap between the two genres, I figured I'd show you this anyway, because I really enjoyed this one. It's quite nice to kind of try to optimize the different paths and progress through it that way, and it's not that expensive, so if you want to check it out, then please make sure you do so. Either way, if you're still here, you are awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.